Right now, a lot of founders feel like they're working harder than ever, but making less progress. That changes now. In the next 5 years, bloated companies will collapse under their own weight. Lean, AI-powered businesses will outpace, outprofit, and outlast everyone else. AI isn't your enemy. It's the best hire you'll make this year. Poor people spend time to make money. Wealthy people spend money to buy back time. This year, I'll help my inner circle clients to drive over $1 billion in sales. And when you see that much, patterns emerge. Most business owners think they have a cash problem, a time problem, a market size problem. They don't. They have an attention allocation problem. Welcome to this episode and this season of Elevate. I'm Jack Delosa. This season is all about building the kind of business and life that actually gets better with scale. Right now, a lot of founders feel like they're working harder than ever, but making less progress. They're spread too thin, stuck in the weeds, and disconnected from the future that they actually want. That changes now. In this season, we're diving into how to scale a world-class business, how to make more money, reclaim your time, and step into the 10.0 version of yourself, living the life that you actually want. I've never been more excited for a podcast episode than I am for this one. Right now, the number one question I'm getting from business owners in DMs, at events, in my portfolio companies, and inside of our programs is this: how do I scale my business, leverage AI, and still have a life that I enjoy? They're exhausted from doing everything manually, buried in complexity, and they're starting to realize that the old way of building a business simply doesn't work anymore, not in this world. There's a smarter, simpler, and more scalable path, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. By the end of this episode, I will have shared with you, and you'll know, why most businesses are broken by design for the world that we now live in, and how to fix yours. You'll know the 7 principles for building a scalable, AI-powered business that runs lean and scales fast. We'll cover the exact shifts you need to make to create more profit, more time, and more alignment. And most of all, we'll talk about how to become a future-focused founder who builds empires with precision, clarity, and a lot more ease. It's been a couple of years since the last episode. Elevate's been on pause. From 2020 to 2023, I was semi-retired. I stepped out of the day-to-day. I did a lot of inner work. I found the love of my life in Panda and became a dad to our gorgeous daughter, Ariella. Then in 2023, I came back, but different. I stepped back in as CEO, modernized the entourage to what is now growing into a $100 million global AI-first company, and rebuilt the business to reflect what I now value most: building high-value, high-profitable ventures, being present and traveling the world with my family, and most of all, living a life on purpose. That's why I speak from experience and not opinion. In the last 2 months alone, my content has reached 12 million business owners globally. This year, I'll help my inner circle clients to drive over $1 billion in sales. I see inside of hundreds, if not thousands of businesses every single year. And when you see that much, patterns emerge. Patterns in business, patterns in psychology, patterns in what makes people win, and equally what keeps people stuck. This vantage point and these experiences gave rise to the Future Founder Framework, which is what we're covering today. A set of 7 principles for building scalable, AI-powered, wildly profitable businesses while reclaiming your time, your energy, and your alignment. So, with that being said, let's dive in to Principle 1, the asymmetry principle. AI is lowering the friction to build, launch, and operate. Everyone will have access to the same tools, speed, and infrastructure, and so that will no longer be the differentiator. In a world where execution becomes easier, knowing what to give your attention to and what to ignore is now your greatest advantage. In the past, leverage came from hiring more people, working more hours, outspending your competitors. The world has changed. Now and into the future, leverage will come from knowing exactly what to do, knowing when to do it, and most importantly, ignoring 99% of the noise that surrounds us today. Right now, most business owners think they have a cash problem, a time problem, a market size problem. They don't. They have an attention allocation problem. If you're working hard but your business isn't growing, then two things are true. Number one, you're putting in the effort. And number two, you're putting it in the wrong place. Every business, yours, mine, all of them, operate in a resource-constrained environment. We all have a limited amount of time, capital, people, brand equity, customer base. That's what makes strategy so important, because every decision in business needs to be viewed as an investment decision. When you choose to spend an hour on a task, when you ask your team to do something, when you launch a marketing campaign, or when you focus on getting your sales conversions up, everything in business is an investment decision. And what do we look for in investment decisions? Asymmetry. How do we put in the least amount of input for the most amount of output? The smallest input that creates the biggest output. That's leverage. And the person who can make the highest leverage moves wins the game of business today. So, how do you make these moves? By understanding that all business is just a game of growing from one constraint to the next. Solve the biggest bottleneck right now. Then once that's done, move on to the next one. Strategy isn't about doing everything, which is probably how you've been operating up until now, trying to do everything. Strategy is about focusing on what is the core constraint right now, and in so doing, choosing what not to focus on. Please write this down. Strategy is how you allocate limited resources against unlimited options. And the way that you find what is the core constraint for you right now is by asking yourself this one question. What's the one challenge that, if solved, would make everything easier or irrelevant? The founders who win aren't doing more, they're doing less, more precisely. You want to limit the amount of details so that you can master every detail. We've helped Australia's top brands scale and become wildly profitable. Brands like Fitstop, Frontrunner, Showpo, Athena Consulting, Mr. Potato, Cupcake Central, Verge Girl, Jealous Craig Real Estate, Kicks Pilati. The list goes on. Today, these businesses generate anywhere from $10 million to $100 million in annual revenue with exceptional profit margins. They achieved that by first developing themselves to the level required to scale a great business. And secondly, by mastering the discipline of focusing only on what matters and ruthlessly tuning out of everything that doesn't. As the world changes, founders will be tempted to do more, add more, chase more. But the future belongs to those who know what not to do. The future is not about working harder. It's about making the highest leverage moves with absolute clarity. Principle 2 in the Future Founders Framework. Simplify to scale. I fell out of love with my business, and here's why. When I started out, I thought businesses that scaled must be doing something really fancy. But the truth is, scale isn't about doing anything fancy. Great businesses are great because they do the basics well at scale. I learned this the hard way. In the lead up to 2023, the entourage had become overly complicated. Too many businesses, too many business units, too much operational drag, too much headcount, and I hated it, not to mention the impact that it had on margin. We think that more equals better, more headcount, more layers, more offers. But in reality, all that does is create complexity, and complexity is the enemy of growth. It overwhelms your team and it confuses your customers. Growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from honing in on what you do really well and doing more of that. Scale is more about scissors than it is bricks. Cutting out what doesn't move the needle and doubling down on what does. You want your business to be simple, lean, and nimble so that as the world changes, your business can change with it. 10 years ago, sure, complexity was admired. Big teams, layered operations, sprawling service lines. That was seen as like success. But in today's world, especially tomorrow's world, complexity is the very thing that will hold you back. There's 1,000 things you could be doing in business, but only 3 that actually move the needle to help you scale to 8 figures and beyond. Let's go through what they are. Number 1, generating leads. Consistently attracting high-quality prospects into your ecosystem. Number 2, making sales. Converting those leads through a replicable process that maximizes your conversion rate so you win more of the right customers. And number 3, delivering at scale. Fulfilling your promise to the customer with a team and a system that gets results and can drive outcomes without relying on you. Everything besides those 3 things is noise. One company, for example, I'm a major investor in, was stuck recently. Good product, great people, flatline growth. We dialed in these 3 levers, and within months, they were growing faster and more profitably than they ever had been. Not from doing more, not from doing different, not from expanding into new markets or building new businesses, but from focusing on the right things consistently. And so the question is, what if right now you're making business harder than it needs to be, and that's the thing slowing you down? That would mean that making it easier would be the unlock to actually making it better. In the future, we must do less better. Simple scales, complex fails. That brings us to principle number 3. Move the money needle. In the future, low leverage work will be automated. AI will handle admin, systems will support your delivery. The only irreplaceable value in your business will be your ability to win customers. That's why founders who don't own sales and marketing will be left behind. In a world where everything else is getting easier to replicate, your ability to generate demand becomes your greatest asset. The founder of the future is not buried in operations. They're at the front of the engine, focused on brand, conversion, and scale. The first most common and most costly constraint that I see inside businesses today is this. The entrepreneur is spending almost all of their time on non-revenue generating activities. They're buried in delivery, caught in operations, wasting time doing admin, and wondering why the business isn't growing. Here's the truth. Please write it down. All growth is sales and marketing led. You can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, no one can buy it. Most business owners spend the majority of their time delivering their product or their service. While that's necessary in the beginning, there becomes a point where staying there becomes the ceiling. If you're spending most of your time in delivery, you don't have a business, you have a job. And our job is to change that. That change starts with generating enough revenue, cash flow, profit, not just to grow, but to build out your team, buy back your time, and to create the support that you need to elevate into the role of a growth-focused CEO. Here's the mindset shift, team. Please write it down. Money making is preceded by money-making activities. 3 things predominantly: generate leads, make sales, or you're recruiting and training people who will generate leads and make sales. Most people massively underestimate the volume of activity and focus required to grow a business. I want you to think about it like this. The way you've obsessed about your product or your service up until now, I want that same level of obsession and focus to now be channeled into how to win more customers with efficient marketing and a strong sales process. If you want to be in growth mode, you need to be spending as close to 80% of your time on revenue generating activities. And in today's world, this is the inflection point where everything starts to shift. When you start spending your time on the things that actually make you money, you realize once and for all that your calendar is your most powerful profit driver. That brings us to principle number 4. Number 4, be AI first. Supercharge labor with leverage. In the past, growth came from headcount. In the future, growth comes from clever strategy, simple execution, and AI working with you and your team to help you do more with less, to help you to grow smarter, and to win without burning yourself out or building a business that you learn to hate. It's ironic that so many businesses are nervous about AI when it's most likely going to be the thing that helps solve some of the most universal problems that founders experience. In the next 5 years, bloated companies will collapse under their own weight. Lean, AI-powered businesses will outpace, outprofit, and outlast everyone else. Most businesses won't need 100 staff. You'll need 10 A players and 90 automations. I want to share with you right now the 4 most practical ways businesses are using AI to save time, increase profit, and to move faster. And just to be clear, this is not a technical deep dive. I'm not a tech person. I'm a business person. I come at this from one angle. How can we use AI today to make more money and get our time back? So I'm focused on outcomes, not the technology itself. So, 4 ways to become AI first. Number 1, use ChatGPT as your on-demand co-pilot. For me, ChatGPT isn't something I use occasionally. It's integrated into everything I do. Big decisions, small tasks, personal reflection, and getting things done. I use it to write, to think, to plan, to prioritize, to pressure test, to reflect, to solve problems. Whether I'm mapping out a growth strategy or just feeling overwhelmed and need clarity, I talk to ChatGPT. This isn't about using it for one specific thing. It's about creating a rhythm where it becomes your go-to thinking partner, problem solver, and sounding board. Once you start using it like this, it stops being a tool and starts being a kind of superpower. Let me list out the things that I use ChatGPT for. Journaling when I'm overwhelmed or stuck. Writing sales copy, emails, ads, and landing pages. Getting second opinions on business problems and opportunities. Prepping for speaking engagements or high-stakes meetings. Improving sleep, fitness, and recovery based on my daily data. As a co-pilot when I'm sick to help me recover as quickly as possible. Navigating tough conversations and relationships. Coaching myself through mindset or emotional blocks. Or just refining ideas until they're clear, sharp, and actionable. I literally use it for every single area of life. In business, if you need to write a marketing email or improve your sales process or summarize meeting notes or plan a product launch, ChatGPT, when used well, can help you do in an hour what used to take teams weeks or months. It's like having a strategist, marketer, copywriter, assistant, therapist in your pocket 24/7. If you haven't yet befriended ChatGPT and you're not using it regularly, start talking to it today. I recently created a 12-page blueprint for my inner circle clients called ChatGPT Essentials, Becoming Superhuman, using ChatGPT. If you want me to send it to you, absolutely free. Find me on Instagram. I'm just at Jack Delosa. DM me the word ChatGPT, and I will send you my entire blueprint for becoming superhuman using this incredible tool. The second way companies are using AI right now, to build custom GPTs. You can train ChatGPT on your business, your frameworks, your systems, your tone of voice, and turn it into a custom AI assistant and employee. There are 3 really smart layers to using custom GPTs. Let's go through them. Number 1, for your team, so internally. Anything you or your team repeatedly do, you can train a GPT to do. So you're not reinventing the wheel every time. At The Entourage, we've built GPTs for writing copy, building landing pages, scripting sales calls, delivering coaching outcomes, even basic admin stuff. It's like cloning your best work and giving your team instant access to it. The second layer of GPTs is for your customers. There are 3 layers to use custom GPTs to get outcomes now. The first layer is for your team, so using them internally. Anything you or your team repeatedly do, you can train a GPT to do, so you're not reinventing the wheel every time. At The Entourage, we've built GPTs for writing copy, building landing pages, scripting sales calls, delivering coaching outcomes, and even basic admin. It's like cloning your best work and giving your team instant and infinite access to it. Now imagine a GPT that helps them get that answer or get that outcome faster, more consistently, and without needing a person every time, essentially enabling you to provide a better service at scale while getting time back. And then the third layer for GPTs is for your market more broadly. This is where you would create a GPT that your ideal customer wants to use, and it becomes a lead magnet that adds value to potential prospects. It might help them solve a problem and therefore bring in leads on autopilot. GPT's team are powerful, low-hanging fruit. They're free, they're fast to build, and they deliver an immediate ROI. Let's move on to the third point on how to become AI first. Deploy AI agents to fulfill roles on your org chart. An AI agent is like hiring a digital team member. It can take on a full function, whether it's sales follow-up, client onboarding, reporting, admin, and it just runs in the background. Even better, agents can talk to other agents. And so if you have 5 agents and they're becoming a lot to manage, you build an agent to manage the other agents. And so you're building an ecosystem or a team that's essentially running and managing itself. This is the future of teams, combining lean teams of A players with AI in such a way that is infinitely scalable. Number 4, implement AI tools that drive outcomes. Right now, there are AI tools you can plug into your business that will help you get real outcomes faster, whether it's more leads, higher conversions, better customer delivery, less manual work, you name it. There are tools that can text your leads the moment the lead comes in and have a really effective conversation with them. There are tools where you can have real-time conversations that qualify and convert. There are tools that call leads, book appointments, solve customer issues, follow up without you needing to lift a finger. There's also tools that send onboarding packs automatically, nurture customers through their next purchase or their next milestone along your customer journey, keep clients engaged, supported, and moving forward 24/7. You can see through all of these examples that AI isn't replacing your business, it's literally supercharging it. If a tool can respond instantly, deliver value automatically, and keep your customers or clients happy while you sleep, then as a founder, by implementing AI, your life just got a lot better. The goal to being an AI-first business is simple. Use AI to remove the stuff humans don't need to be doing so your people and you can focus on what actually matters. AI isn't your enemy. It's the best hire you'll make this year. Start small, build momentum, and scale whatever tools or programs work for you. Again, if you want my help on any of this in implementing AI into your business, find me on Instagram @JackDelosa. DM me the word ChatGPT. I'll send you our blueprint and I can answer any questions you may have about how you can use AI to move faster and in a more smarter and leaner way. That brings us to principle number 5 of the Future Founders Framework. Take back your time. Here's the thing. Whenever I sit down with a founder, the first thing we do is audit what they're spending their time on so that they can reclaim 20 to 30 hours a week. We do this by removing them from the wrong activities and getting them laser focused on the right ones. This is how you create the space to focus on things like strategy, simplifying your business, focusing on money-making activities, implementing AI. We first need to free up your time. Please write this down. How you spend your time is how you spend your life. And most people spend their time, and therefore their life, reactively. I see this play out in the daily routine of almost every founder. They walk into the office and the first thing they do is open their emails. Hear me when I say this. Your inbox is a list of other people's priorities for you. If you let your emails dictate your day, you're literally saying that other people's to-do lists that they've created for you matter more than your own. And then the day just kind of continues like that. Notifications, interruptions from staff, more emails, distractions. It's just chasing dopamine. That's how most people spend every single day. Then they look up at the end of the year and wonder why they didn't really achieve anything meaningful. It's because they never took control of their time. If you do not take control of your time, life keeps happening to you and you'll feel lost. First, we start by finding where you can take back time at home and then in business. So let's start by having the home conversation and how you can get back more personal time. If you're making over, say, $200K a year, you shouldn't be doing laundry, groceries, or cleaning. You should have someone part-time helping you at home so that you can focus on what matters the most. If you're spending time on tasks that can be outsourced for $50 an hour, you're trading your most valuable resource, which is time, for things that don't move the needle. When you free up your time, you can focus on higher value activities where the return is far greater than the cost of the outsourcing. If you're outsourcing something that enables you to spend more time in money-making activities, for example, then the ROI is super clear. That $50 investment can easily turn into $500, $5,000 or more because you've gotten smarter about how you use your time. My only caveat to this is I wouldn't outsource anything that you love doing. If you love cooking, then by all means cook. You want to outsource the things that you don't enjoy and that are below your hourly rate. The time that we free up in your home life can be spent on things more important than money, like spending time with the kids, taking your partner on a date, doing things that you love to do and that bring you alive, or even just resting. Not only will these things make you a healthier, happier person, they will also mean that when it's time to get back to work, you'll be approaching your work with entirely different energy and level of focus because you've invested in you and your loved ones. One of the most common questions I get is, people look at my life and they ask, how do I run several businesses while expanding into international markets? I'm dating my wife and my daughter every single week. We're traveling the world while having, all of the energy that I do to show up. So they say, Jack, how do you do it all? Here's the secret. It's not what I do. It's what I don't do. I don't manage my calendar. I don't sit in my inbox all day. I don't book travel. I don't chase team members for updates. I don't spend time on admin receipts or logistics. I don't touch anything repetitive, low value, or draining. I don't do laundry. I don't clean the house. I don't do grocery shopping. I don't wait in queues and I don't run errands. I don't book appointments. I don't remember important dates. I don't water plants or mow the lawn or do the gardening. I don't do any task that can be done better, faster, or cheaper by somebody else. I don't waste time on things that don't bring me closer to my family, my mission, myself, or the highest version of myself. Please write this down, team. It's critically important. Your life expands in proportion to what you remove. Your life expands in proportion to what you remove. This is how you create the space to focus on things like strategy, simplifying your business, and implementing AI. Here's the thing. Poor people spend time to make money. Wealthy people spend money to buy back time. Most people think doing everything themselves saves money. That is small game thinking. Doing everything yourself doesn't save money. It wastes time. And time well spent is infinitely more valuable than money. My mantra today is simple. I only do what only I can do. Everything else gets delegated. At a certain point in business, doing everything yourself stops being smart and starts being really expensive. If you're still managing your calendar, your inbox, your travel, your bookings, all the little bits of admin that pop up each day, you're spending your time in the wrong place. Delegating better, utilizing AI, hiring an assistant, finding someone part-time to help at home, this will free you up to play at the level that you should be playing at. The reason I'm harping on about this team, the reason it's so important is because delegating anything administrative or repetitive or that you don't need to be doing can get you literally 20 to 30 hours a week back. And when you spend that time on higher level tasks and projects, that's where the stage of growth is created. And that's where the next level of income and fulfillment is unlocked. Take back your time. That brings us to principle number 6. Live in your zone of genius. I want to talk to you about how I operate in business and how I've observed some of the most iconic entrepreneurs of our time operating in business. This is my founder operating system, if you like. It'll enable you to be more effective in business and to have more choice in life. And this is it. I delegate everything except the one biggest problem right now. As we discussed in Principle 1, I find the biggest constraint right now, I step in, I fix it, and once it's done, I don't need to stay involved. I move on to the next thing. Everything else is delegated. I view every business as a conceptual assembly line. And so in my businesses, there's always someone and something running each stage of that production line, a manager with each department with clear direction. My job as the leader is to identify the biggest bottleneck in the production line at any given time. And again, as we discussed in point 1, the question I ask myself to do that, the question I ask myself more than any other question, is what's the biggest challenge right now that, if solved, would make the biggest difference? I micromanage that. I don't need to manage everything else because everything else is already being managed and by definition is performing better than the thing that I'm focusing on. And so this frees me up to ensure that all of my time is spent and focused on only the hardest problem and the things that are in my zone of genius, like content, leadership, driving international growth, whatever it might be. Everything else is delegated. Over time, because it doesn't happen overnight, you want to build a business where you've scaled yourself out of the things that you don't need to be doing and that you're not good at, and scaled yourself into the things that you do need to be doing and you are good at. It is the most effective way to operate, particularly as we move into the future. That brings us to Principle 7 of the Future Founders Framework. Live life by design. When you implement the principles we've discussed in this podcast and combine that with the changes that AI is bringing to the world, you will eliminate the low-level busy work, the clutter, and the operational drag. You'll get back your time, also your energy and your mental space. But here's the catch. If you don't know what you want, that space will fill itself with bullshit. In the past, overwhelm was inevitable. In the future, if you live with intention, overwhelm is optional. Hear me when I say this. AI will accelerate whatever direction you are already facing. If you are aligned, it will supercharge your freedom and your fulfillment. If you're coasting, it will scale your distractions and your dissatisfaction. The founders who win long-term won't just build scalable businesses. They'll build energized, intentional, deeply fulfilling lives on their terms. Because in a world where everything else can be automated, the only thing that can't be outsourced is your energy, your joy, and your presence. Most people drift through life. They live life on autopilot, never taking control of themselves or their lives. Living life by design is about living according to what matters most to you, not based on old habits or the way you've always done them, and certainly not based on other people's expectations. The reason that most people choose to live their lives by default is that living by design takes effort. It requires clarity, discipline, and making decisions that most people avoid. But the cost of living by default is far greater because it leads to confusion, burnout, and a life unfulfilled. And so living by design starts by asking yourself the important questions that you may have been avoiding. How do I want my life to be? What kind of business would I love to own and run, perhaps for the rest of my life? What would my ideal role be? Who do I want to be for my partner? Who do I want to be for my kids? How can I integrate what I do in business with living an amazing life while I'm building? It's about deciding what you want your life to look like and then designing your years, months, and weeks according to what's most important to you, rather than simply reacting to whatever's coming your way, which is how most of us operate most of the time. Future-focused founders understand one thing, and that is that your mojo is the most important asset in your business. When you're flat, growth flatlines. When you elevate, everything rises with you. Build a rhythm of existence that prioritizes your well-being, your happiness, and that of your loved ones. Hear me when I say this, team. Personal happiness creates business success. The dream life isn't the reward. It's the fuel for building your empire. When you're energized, you make better decisions. When you're aligned, you build a business that you love. So, please, take this episode, take everything we've discussed and use it as an invitation to stop living on autopilot and to start architecting a life that energizes you, that fulfills you, and becomes the driving force behind everything you build as you become a future-focused founder. So, team, as I said, we're just relaunching this podcast. If you got value from this episode, please do this now. Hit subscribe, leave a review, or drop a comment. That helps us to grow. It helps us to attract world-class guests in the future, and it helps me to keep bringing you powerful conversations that will move the needle. Everything we've covered today will be going deeper on in the episodes that follow. So hit the subscribe button, leave a review or a comment, and I'll see you back here next week.